Hey guys, it's Camille Scott. In today's video, I want to talk about 3 different YouTube influencers that I've been following over the last couple years, and how their little YouTube channels are starting to bud, and actually there's one that's really blown up. And these are fantastic case studies if you're an entrepreneur that's trying to promote yourself in your niche and your own personal knowledge, putting it out there in the world in order to make a living somehow or create some influence. These are great case studies if you're in a program like Entra's program. So I'm going to talk about Renee Garcia, Dexter and Alessandrina, and Josh from Strength Side. So Renee Garcia is doing a study group, and she teaches lessons on this Russian author's work. His name is Vadim Zeland, and his body of work is called reality transurfing. And this is kind of along the same lines as Jerry and Esther Hicks, law of attraction type stuff, but it's really a little bit different, and it's really interesting because it's about navigating reality and how there's a lot of different layers of reality, and you can live your best life on these higher realms of reality if you're able to, avoid negative thinking and ride waves of success. There's all this jargon that goes along with it. But the book is quite technical and complex, and she just breaks it down for people. And she's been doing this for several years now, and she just would get up there with her whiteboard and just give like a 10-minute lesson on one of the concepts of transurfing. And if you're an entre, you know that they're encouraging us to create Facebook groups, and she has a thriving Facebook group community of like over 8,000 members, and she's created her own course that's associated with transurfing. And so she is such a fantastic case study if you want to see somebody who's really grown and budded. And she comes from a really humble background. She describes herself as coming from, extreme poverty and being really shy and somewhat self-loathing and kind of a wallflower. And with transurfing, she has just completely blossomed into this fully embodied, confident, quirky, but completely unapologetically herself influencer. She probably has around 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, so it's just starting to get traction, but I think that she's definitely worth looking up, not only for her studies, but also, you can learn from transurfing how to be a great entrepreneur, but she's also just a great case study. The second influencer that I want to talk about is actually a couple. It's Dexter and Alessandrina, and they're in the spirituality realm or space, whatever. And she just recites a lot of meditations, but they also do like a lot of Dharma talks. A lot of her work is based on Joe Dispenza's teachings, but also people like John Jones and some ancient teachings. And they put out a lot of content really frequently, and just little by little, steadily have been creating, this digital real estate. And their stuff is so unbelievably useful for almost any situation. You can Google it and do some kind of a meditation or listen to some kind of little talk about, that subject matter. And I love them because they're completely non-egotistical, just very soulful, down to earth, really caring people that really, love humanity and really want to help. And you can go back and look at some of their older stuff, and, the sound quality is not great, and, it's kind of just like home baked, you can tell, but they're getting more and more practice and better at it. The content's always been good, the message has always been good, but you can see that they're becoming more polished. So that's another interesting case study, and it also might be one that you find useful. And then the third one that I want to talk about is Josh from Strength Side. Now this guy, he's up to like 600,000 followers on YouTube, and you can go back and see his videos. He's been doing it for about 6 years, so it hasn't just been like, a couple of months. He's steadily been putting out content all this time. But if you go back to his early ones, he's like this quirky, guy, and he's teaching about weightlifting and stuff. But at some point during his journey, it took a turn where he really got into like natural movement or like nonlinear movement. And this is things like, I don't know if you're familiar with like the animal sequence where you do these, it's like a movement almost like Tai Chi, but it's all about flexibility, but it's also about asymmetric body strength. And he also ties in some great philosophy with his videos. And I got into doing his little workouts during the pandemic when we first had the lockdown and the yoga studio closed and they couldn't figure out how to get online yet. So I tapped into Josh from Strength Side and I just really liked him. And it turns out that he's from Santa Cruz. So, we have that Santa Cruz thing in common. So I just really resonated with this personality. But the one thing that these three different people have in common is their consistency. They all started with 0 followers, just like the rest of us, or 0 subscribers, just like the rest of us. And they steadily put out content with their message. And every time they put something out, it was a little bit better and a little bit nicer, a little bit more polished. You could see that they got more thoughtful about the things that they wanted to talk about. And it's really beautiful to see how they've evolved. So those are 3 that I would really recommend you checking out. Now, if you know of some influencers that you follow and you think their evolution is worth a little case study for us here at Entre, or for anybody that's out there trying to become an entrepreneur, leave that in the comments for me below. I would just love to see what people think about other people that are out there trying to do what we're doing. So anyway, that's all for today, and stay tuned for tomorrow because I'm going to go on location tomorrow and show you guys a great place.